I think just dismissing it, as we just heard from the Israeli UN ambassador, won't do. And at the end of the day, the fact that there are 64,000 plus people killed in Gaza over the last 2 years, the fact that as we speak, there is a massive operation, assault on Gaza City by Israeli forces that no doubt will kill more civilians, that 90% of the houses in Gaza have been damaged, that ideas about expelling Palestinians from their home, displacing them by senior member of the cabinet, it's on record. So, however one will define it as a genocide, there are war crimes committed, or not genocide, war crimes are committed in Gaza almost on a daily basis, while there are senior members of cabinet are actually endorsing it. Now, this committee, it's a serious committee. Israel has the right to question the findings, so let them bring alternative evidence. But they said that, 4 of the 5 criteria of genocide have been met by the way that Israel behaves in Gaza. So this should be taken very seriously, first and foremost by Israel, and rethink the way it operates in Gaza, because what I can see from the pictures from this morning, it will only get worse.
Now, the UN, that Commission of Inquiry, they have called on countries to stop supplying arms and equipment to Israel that may be used for genocidal acts. Now, the biggest actor in this, Yossi, we know, is the United States. So do you see the Trump administration budging at all in terms of its support for Israel's war?
First, it's inevitable if they reach this conclusion that the outcome of it is to call to stop the supply of weapons that involved in genocidal action. But at the same time, if you ask me whether the United States will change its policy, most likely not. And that's what we see. We see actually the exact opposite under Trump. There was a time, at least under President Biden, that certain very specific, though very limited time, where that certain weaponry like 2 tons bombs, where the supply was suspended. It's very difficult to see it right now when the Trump administration ideas of how to solve it includes actually the expulsion of Palestinians from Gaza.
Yes. Now, as we speak, Yossi, Israel, the IDF forces are intensifying their campaigns or offensive campaign to take control of Gaza. We have seen pictures of thousands of those living there evacuating from their homes. Tanks are reportedly in Gaza City. Do you read anything into the timing of this phase of the offensive and the release of the UN's report?
I don't think the two as such are connected, but we know that when the Israeli cabinet decided against the will of the Israeli military and the chief of staff, when they decided a few weeks back on entering into Gaza City, they set a very artificial date of completing it by October 7 of this year, symbolic 2 years after the Hamas attack. Most likely this is not going to be the case, but it's more connected to Israel. Think not only because of this report, the pressure is mounting internationally, more and more recognition by other states of a Palestinian state, whether it's a resolution last week by the General Assembly, the decision yesterday in Doha condemning Israel, the attack on Qatar last week by a summit of Arab and other Muslim countries. So I think what motivates Israel right now to operate relatively quickly and with more force is to finish what they think basically defeating Hamas as quickly as possible, because they also know that Trump is unpredictable and at one point or another might change his mind.
Yes.
But however we look at it, the end result is more devastation and more killings of innocent peoples in Gaza.
Yes, on that note, as you mentioned, getting closer to October 7, and we seeing more countries recognizing the Palestinian state later this month, does that mean we'll be seeing more aggression from Benjamin Netanyahu?
I think this is the direction, and we see it also against the will of Israelis, because most Israelis would like to see a deal that we see, and rightly so, of the hostages, the remaining hostages coming home. So this Netanyahu, under the influence, the pressure from the ultra-nationalist messianic elements in Gaza, under the pressure that he knows if the war comes to an end, there will be investigation that most likely will find him culpable for what happened on October 7, and also pushing Israel, as we see, including the report today, to become an isolated. Netanyahu, in a very bizarre speech yesterday, talked about Israel being isolated for years to come and develop a sort of super Sparta mentality. That's not what Israelis want, and that's not a vision for Israel that I think also its friends would like to see.
Yes, and Yossi, as we are speaking, we saw pictures just a short time ago of Marco Rubio there having a press conference with Benjamin Netanyahu, but he's now in Qatar, where Arab leaders have been meeting and collectively condemning Israel's actions. How awkward might this be for the U.S. Secretary of State to be in Qatar as this offensive happens in Gaza, but while this report has been released?
I won't be surprised if they will try to make it as awkward as possible for him. Here, the United States didn't manage to stop one ally of the United States attacking another ally in the United States, not an enemy country. Qatar is not an Israel enemy country. It's a country that never, from its soil, an attack was initiated against Israel, while it's mediating a ceasefire that will see the hostages returning and attacking the negotiation team of Hamas. So, and this Qatar is also the host of the biggest US base outside the United States. So I think Marco Rubio should answer a few tough questions during his visits to Doha.
Yes, and just a final one. On that meeting in Doha, we saw the heads of state of several major Arab countries there. It doesn't seem to me like anything concrete has been announced or initiated as far as Israel's strike in Doha is concerned. What do you make of what you've seen so far from those Arab leaders?
I think definitely the summit came out, beyond the rhetoric when it comes to actionable steps. It was way more restrained. But the sense within the Arab world and beyond that Israel is becoming the major danger right now for stability came out much stronger out of this summit, and also the language, including, for instance, those who signed peace agreement with Israel, that Israel behavior put under severe test, stress, this agreement. So if Netanyahu government continues to behave like this, the peace agreements, the normalization agreements are under danger.
Okay, Yossi Mekelberg, really appreciate your analysis there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.